Are we talking about 12K income and now we're saying that it's pathetic? What
I
world
want
are
to
we in?
clarify a bit.
Huh? What?
I'm not saying the income is pathetic. I'm just saying the savings rate could be better.
Welcome back to another episode of the Backholder Pod. Today, we're going to talk about something close to most Singaporeans' heart. So, on the Singapore Reddit thread by this guy called Smoke Weed Every Day, so he was talking about this very 社会的动态. What the hell is that in English? A common phenomenon of feeling amongst, I guess, Singaporeans. And it was being upvoted quite a fair bit. I think there's 1,600 upvote. And here it goes. I'll just briefly read you through the summary of what he said. So, anyone feel the same recently? I can't help with all the news of layoffs and crazy housing prices, but feel that I'm struggling to find my place in Singapore, and it feels very different from the one I've grown up in. It feels that being normal or average is the new below average, and it's only getting more competitive, with jobs being outsourced to the neighboring ASEAN countries. Fair play to them, but as an average Joe, I feel helpless. So I'm not some game changer or trailblazing CEO or someone meant for greater things. I'm just someone trying their damn hardest to keep their rice bowl in the period of economic uncertainty, and I feel lost. So the gap between the has and have not also seem to be slowly widening. We talk about upskilling, but realistically, how many people have the capacity and capability to upskill fast enough in the face of all these changes? So I know we like to say that comparison is the thief of joy, keep to yourself, to work on yourself, etc. But it is not human nature to still be somewhat emotionally affected. So I find it hard to live life at my own pace when everywhere you go, you're reminded of your value being tied to some form of money or ambition. Sometimes I really wonder what it's like to be on the other side, on the side of these top talented performers, knowing that I'm not one of them. Can you truly be stoic if every day you're reminded that being average in Singapore is now below average? So I feel lost in a sea of people when I go to work every day, and it feels like I'm sinking further and further down into some kind of mildly depressive loop, which I just stuff at the back of my head and ignore. But no, sooner or later, I have to come to terms with it, and I don't know how. So I'm just tired of everything and being left behind by a society which doesn't seem to care the least bit about me apart from my GDP value. Not sure if anyone else feel the same. I think this has been a very extended, I guess, reflection about the current phenomenon that I guess quite a lot of people are feeling. So I'll just ask the true blue Singaporean boy in our panel here today, Eric. Maybe your thoughts on this generally. Do you feel the same way? And do you have any other pointers that you want to add?
I don't really feel like disconnected lah, in the sense that I don't know, I'm just busy doing my own things. I don't have a lot of times to ponder about, oh, am I connected to Singapore and all that. Maybe because I already have my own place, so I'm not like really not anchored lah. I'm anchored in the sense that I have a mortgage, yeah, to pay all these things, and I have a son, yeah, there to care for him and all that. So usually I think the people maybe thinking about this probably are those without kids, I would think. I don't know if you have kids, do you have time to think of all those things? If you have time, probably we'll go and sleep already, or like rather than think of, oh, am I connected to Singapore, am I left behind and all this. Yeah, so that's my thoughts.
So are you kind of saying that like only those like lying around, bumming around, then they have time to think too much about all this more philosophical things or
Probably,
philosophical questions?
probably. Is I feel I feel don't flame me. I feel that you probably don't have kids, or you have like you're very free, don't really have much thing to do. But then you think of all these things like, am I feeling connected to my place and all that? But because if let's say you have a family that you need to young, people are looking to you to give them their upkeep, right? I don't think you have that much time to think like, hey, should I what am I doing? Like, am I being left behind? I'm like not in the inner circle, yeah, not connected, all this. I don't think you have time to think about that.
Want to know your thoughts about the idea of being average now is below average. What's your take on this?
I think in the previous video, right, there was this video that Kelvin was talking about some income thing. I think that you were talking about this person that earn what? I can't remember his income, like 12K or something. then he got like 4 kids or something. I think we did a video like that before, right? And then Kevin was saying, wow, that is pathetic. And then somebody in the comments say, what are we talking about? 12K income, and now we're saying that it's pathetic. What
I want
are
to
we?
clarify a bit.
Huh?
I'm not saying the income is pathetic. I'm just saying the savings rate could be better.
No, I'm just bringing up. I know you clarified on that video comments. I'm just bringing
Walao,
up
right?
like the comment you were saying that, wow, how come we'll come to that stage where, people are commenting like 10 to 12K income, right? It's like not enough. It's like below average. Why are these guys chill at people like earning 12K, 10K? What's so lousy about that kind of income? So I know that Kelvin has clarified it. He definitely don't mean it that way. I forgot what he said already lah, but I don't think he means to look down on people earning 12K or something. Yeah, but yeah, I think that's what social media will do to people like us, right? We look at people like living the life, wow, everything, eat 1K omakase or whatever, not all the lunch and all that. Then here we are eating our cai fan. What are we doing with our life? I don't know. But I think in our group, maybe Bunti is the most zen one. Can ask him how he make himself immune to all this.
Immune. I don't know that my take on this is that I don't know because the person didn't share like what is his profile or her profile, right? We don't know, right? Could be 20 plus years old, still looking for direction. I don't know. Could be 40 years old, right? Who knows? But my sense is if I just observe myself, right? Let's say right after graduation, I think there's a lot more like comparison because we all kind of like starting from the same line. So you start to compare, right? Okay, you are earning more, working with certain companies. He's getting higher salary. He's getting promotion first. So there's all this kind of like comparison. Which let's say if you are not the brightest one, and you after doing all this comparison, you just realize that actually people are progressing a lot better than me. So you will have this kind of feeling like getting stuck. So I think they are. I think this kind of situations can be common. I don't know how common it is. It's just that I think after a while, maybe once you step into in your 30s or entering 40s, you will start to accept things, accept the situations. Once you achieve that acceptance, then I would say all these things, right? All this hardship or all these, feeling stuck, right? Is I would say maybe 80% really coming from comparison. Once you stop the comparison, then you will just start to accept and then just deal with it. So I don't know. I think we all need to have our own coping mechanism, right?
But in a roundabout way, right? At least from because I haven't got Kelvin's opinion, but maybe from Eric and Bunti when y'all say it, right? Not trying to get us cancelled or anything, but it feels like we are denying like whatever he's thinking, right? Because at the end of the day, actually, I have this interesting question that I wanted to ask Eric. So I think Bunti and Kelvin, maybe y'all can chime in later on. But Eric, do you think that there is a Singapore identity, or do you think that we have a Singaporean dream that people can aspire to when, like, even you have a kid now that is in primary school, he's 9, 10 years old. What do you think, or what are you imbuing to him that he can look forward to, or can aspire for in Singapore in the next 30 to 40 years?
What am I teaching to him? I think actively, I hope that I can teach to him financial literacy, the basic one, and hope that he can be wise with how he spend money, and hopefully also to give him some values, like to be an honest person, like don't go and harm other people, and also to be shrewd enough not to be harmed by others, because there's a lot of bad people out there, so we got to be wise, not let people throw you into a trap, be alert. Yeah, so
Here's the interesting thing. So actually, the first thing that you talk about is financial literacy, right? I don't know whether is it because of our podcast, because we're in the finance space, we are very like money astute with money, right? So it goes back to the point when I was reading the Reddit thread at the last, right, when he made the conclusion. He said that I'm just so tired of everything and being left behind by a society which doesn't seem to care a less bit about me other than my GDP value, which goes back to the point of the prosperity of the nation, the credibility, your ambition, how much value that you can bring in the monetary terms. Have Singapore as a society like come to the extent where we are just very money minded, very focused on whether we can flip our BTO, go to a condo, whether we can have a lot of savings or CPF full retirement. Just everything we're talking about is all about money. Is that the general sense that you're getting now in Singapore?
A little bit. I feel that because of the climate, like how the BTO is all booming, the property market is on fire. Yeah, you put cooling measure, nothing is gonna douse that fire. So people is like, okay, just keep piling in. Like, yeah, so I do get a bit of that sort of feelings, and I feel definitely I feel more for those younger folks just going to start work, and they hear of all these people wow earning like so much money, and then it's like the condos and even HDB nowadays, right? There are some that are going like 600-700.
Hey, totally out of market, Eric.
Yeah.
600-700 is
Huh?
like the almost the cheaper tier already.
Yeah lah,
Now,
cheaper tier lah. Go for the
ah,
cheaper one, no?
oh, okay. You say go for that. I thought you say some are fetching to 600-700K.
No, no, of course there are $1 million ones, 900K easy. But I'm talking about like if you're just a average guy coming out, you're expecting an average salary. You're not like from, a first class honors from what a double degree, double major, whatnot. And then you're not like working in the private banking, don't have lobang there. Then you come out, you just expect to get a normal like junior exec job. You won't be thinking like I'm coming out earning like 20K a month. Then you're wondering, how can I afford all this? Like even the most bottom tier HDB, right, is gonna set you back like at least 400-500K. Like the really really small new ones, 400-500K. Let's go. So you sometimes, yeah, I can see why they are wondering, how am I gonna get all those money? Yeah, I mean, other than the fact that government is subsidizing here and there, giving out all those grants, but I don't know, it's just the price tag lah. You put a price tag there, people are like, wow, I don't know, can I qualify for it? What if I can't get qualify for the grant, but like my expense is high, like I have to pay for my parents, they are not earning, so I have to give them allowance, I have to pay for their insurance. If not, if they kena big illness, I'll be down for the count lah. So a lot of these things are like invisible. It's not just your income. You can have a high income, but maybe you have a pretty high upkeep also. So then how? So I don't know.
So on that note, right, Kelvin, you came here by choice. So why are you interested in a country that only cares about GDP and not really the well-being of the people? In this case, if we are going down this, for argument's sake, going down this logic.
Actually, I don't think it's just Singapore that cares about GDP. If you look at any Asian countries, they they care about GDP quite a lot as compared to like European countries where it's a bit more humane. I don't know if that's the correct word or not. Okay, Singapore is humane, but other countries are a little bit more humane. Basically, they give you more leaves. They have less OT. The house prices, maybe not in the city area, like in the kampung, more rural areas, the money is less of an issue. For me, it's hard for me to relate to this. Not because I'm not compassionate, because I came from a low base. So from Singapore, so from Malaysia to Singapore, basically I straight away earn 2 to 3 times the salary of the local. Then once I came out to work, I had a low salary. Then recently I only jumped to a high salary. So to me, if this all feels that it's possible to change your life, but then he feels stuck. So I don't know what's going on. Is it he haven't found his luck, or is it due to other circumstances like family, he has to support his parents or something like that? Or maybe he doesn't have a uni degree or something like that. Then I would usually say, oh, this is doable. You can go and study more, you can go and upskill more, but I guess he feels very demotivated lah. I think the problem is because he's brainwashed by media. So if I open Instagram, I will see people go and travel. I will see pretty girls aside lah. I will see people go and travel. I will see people talking about expensive house, expensive food. That's on Straits Times lah. So then it feels all this very unachievable, right? From all my research, is achievable. Even if you have a low salary, the grant will more than make up for it. If you have a high salary, your pay will more than make up for it. So I don't know. Then he talked about the layoffs part. From my experience, layoffs isn't an issue because I have worked 4 jobs two or three of my jobs, my company closed down, so I have to straight away go and find a job. I think if you work in a normal big company, you won't have this kind of issue. Even if you lay off, you can easily find a job as long as you don't 计较 the pay. You don't mind the pay too much. So I would say he's probably thinking like that is because he's comparing himself with others. Then the other thing, his focus is on the wrong stuff. Shouldn't be on money too much. Should be on family and his purpose of life. I think he haven't found these two yet lah. That's what I think.
Yeah, I would say he haven't found the passion. That's my guess. Let's say if you really have passions, right? And by passion, I don't mean things that are fun, like things that he likes. It's not just that, passion has to be something that he don't mind working hard and he don't mind suffer by pursuing the passions, right? Say for example, the person's like dancing, right? But the dance training, all those things, is not like, wow, you play, you have fun. It's not like that. The real training is like you really go through the suffering. But if you really like that kind of activities, then you don't mind the suffering, right? So I would say that part, maybe just think about like what to have, or what, so that you can compare with someone else. I think that one is really a bit superficial. I think the right way, the right approach to life is that you need to look for areas where you don't mind take on a lot more suffering. Let's say when it comes to work, you don't mind the OT just because you like that thing so much. So he like that kind of passions, I think.
And do you have any tips on somebody that is watching this on how to find that passion?
No tips lah. This one you have to ask yourself one lah. So I don't think it's, you have to follow your heart now. Really, like one indicator is that even if it's hard, you still keep on doing. I think that's just shows that you really have passions. Some people have passions in chasing money, so I think that's fine also. Like working super hard, like Kelvin, working don't know what 60, 70 hours just to chase money, but that's his passion, right? So I think that's okay too. It's just that you need to, like able to take on the suffering.
So actually, there is another comment in that thread, right? Asking or saying that, in my opinion, and I quote, Singapore is rapidly turning into 10 years ago Hong Kong. Rent-seeking behavior, exploding property prices, enriching a small minority at the expense of the future of the youth. This isn't going to end well, unquote. Punti having worked in Hong Kong for a while last time, do you share similar thoughts, or do you think this is just a transition phase?
No, I don't. I usually don't make the kind of comparison. It's not like it is invalid. I can't look for data to say whether it's right or wrong. It's just that these are the comments that after you debate for hours, right? Then what do you get out of it? Because of course, if you are staying in Hong Kong, for sure there are billionaires, there are many millions out there. You stay in Singapore, it's the same. Even if you stay in Malaysia, there are many billionaires also, more than you would expect, But it's not important. The important is that you want to structure your life such that you are living a life that you want to live. And that, right, I would say the recipe include things that you should do, like for example, chasing a passion, and also things that you shouldn't do. For example, like keep on comparing. You saw your neighbor upgrade to condo, you also want to update to condo. I mean, just don't play the game. I mean, some people they can afford, they like chasing it, let them chase. You don't have to chase everything. Unless you are really, really passionate about owning condo, then that's a different story. But I would say that you don't chase things just because other people are chasing. These are the game that other people just build out, and it's the society pressure so that people are, comparing each other by just looking at this single metrics. Do you have a condo? Do you have a car? For example, I don't have condo, I don't have car. 10 years later, you ask me, do you have car? Do you have condo? I will just tell you I don't have. Why you don't have? I can't afford. So be it, right? It's not a game that I want to play, right? But if let's say if I'm very passionate about photography and go and buy an expensive camera and I get so much joy out of that 3,000 spend, right? I think that's a lot, a lot more joy as compared to just chasing, just keep on doing the comparison, playing the game.
Actually, for taking do you feel this kind of mentality like Singapore is trying to squeeze all your money from you?
That's a very loaded question. I actually borderline agree with what Eric first said when he was talking about it. I feel like I don't even have enough time to finish what I want to read or what I want to think about. I wouldn't have time to think so deeply about, wow, what's my purpose, what's my passion. Maybe now because no kids, so I'm more interested in whatever I'm doing rather than thinking about all these things. That's point number one. Point number two, I think Singapore as a country, right? We have not developed until the point where the rich stay, like you can see, I think in some countries that you go to, you can really see like Haojai, like the best buildings are at one side, then the slums are right beside the building. I think we have not go through that level of the haves and have-nots and the differences. Sure, we have condos, we have landed enclaves, we have districts that rich people stay in, but I think they've done a pretty good job in terms of trying to still integrate people together in districts and in places. But I do feel that, at least my own opinion is, if you're rich and you want to everyday go omakase and go Michelin star, still you can. You have the optionality. But I think in Singapore, if you want to keep your expenses very low, you can also. It's not like they didn't give you the option. So the issue really is because of this truncatedness of like social media and what. The world become flat, meaning everybody see on the same line. Last time, maybe in the past, like my parents or my grandparents' era, they might know one or two rich people in their neighborhood, or people that know it's the tauke, right? That's what they call them last time. But I think right now it's like everybody you can see, and you have all these documentaries, you have people doing all these things. Then you feel very uneasy, and your comparison bar becomes very high. So I really feel quite dumbfounded when you say the average now becomes below average. Because in theory or mathematically, you cannot understand what it means. Average means average. What do you mean by average become below average? Then who become the new average? Like the upper middle become average. That one is you own self create one. The number, the thinking, the whole narrative is you own self create in your own mind that you think the average is the below average. But it doesn't work that way. I mean, logically speaking, it doesn't work that way. So back to the point, right, about as a young Singaporean, how I feel now. Sure, I think I have quite a lot of friends that BTO and they go 4-room, they go to the prime areas. They are taking straight away 700, 800,000 housing, even though it's supposed to be public housing. They are probably median income. Some of them are higher median income. I think the loan is not a problem, but I think levying such a huge exposure on the debt can be a potential problem next time if they lose their job. I think that's one. But like I said, right, if you want to de-risk, you can always go for more ulu places. You can go for smaller units, meaning people all want 4-room, 5-room. You can go for 3-room. You can go for low floor. You can go for people further away from MRT. I think that's why there is always this concern that people want everything, then you keep deriving everything based on your monetary or your GDP value. Then of course you feel very bad. Because when you can't fight or when you have friends, unless you are the brightest person that are earning the highest amount of money, of course you'll be sad. So a lot of people I feel they're stuck, right? It's because they are bright, but they're not the brightest. So yeah, at the same time, they have a lot of time. So they think a lot. You get what I mean? I can tell you a lot of people on the other side of the spectrum probably don't even think about all these things. Because I'm not saying that they're not so bright, but maybe they're more skilled in other things. And their focus might be improving their craft. I have friends in like the woodwork industry, they are like builders. And you can see that they are good with their craft. And you ask them about all these things, they get nowhere. They don't get until what you're talking about. So I guess it's this group of people that's very stuck. And then in Chinese, they call it very 执着, meaning they keep digging deeper, keep asking questions, and then they don't get the answer, then they feel even more terrible. Then they feed back into the loop. Then they say, oh, they feel very lost or what. On that point, I think when I asked Bunti the topic about how to find a passion, I think I have one. Especially for younger folks that are probably still starting. I think internship is a very good opportunity. Go out and do more things. Go and try new things, and you will know what you don't like. You might not know what you like, but you definitely know what you don't like. So that's one. Secondly, I think in terms of a side hustle, you can also try more things. Maybe I think like Kelvin's point of view, right? He every year do a New Year resolution, say I want to start something new, or do explore something. I think those are all good practices to implement in a way. And they talk about like jobs being stolen and what. I feel like I cannot relate much as well. It's because I think at the start when I was trying this YouTube thing online, right, when I was in uni, the competition by nature is global. I don't say that, I want to target YouTube Singapore only. I think that's a very 1990 thing to think about. Nowadays, when everything is outsourced offline, right, you need to think of it from a global scale. So it's inevitable. Then you talk about coding since young. I'm quite sure your primary school kids nowadays will start to learn coding. I can tell you my coding is also very rudimentary, and it's not something that I'm very passionate about. So I try to focus on strengths rather than to do on weakness. And I feel like the education system a little bit doing Singaporeans a disservice. Meaning they ask you to take 9 subjects and then they want you to get good in everything. So let's say you're very good in math, your A math, E math, or A1. Then what they'll tell you, They tell you go and work on your English, work on your science, work on your humanities. Then your math can get A1, you just keep it there. But I realized that actually after studying some of this more westernized or more Western style of parenting, right, they will tell you to double down on your strength, meaning to make you the top elite in that space, rather than to ask you to make sure that everything is balanced. Of course, from an O level, A level perspective, you want to do everything well. That's the system. You can't run away from it. But I would think that actually trying to merge a few things, meaning let's say you're good in math, you're good at speaking, you can merge both of the things. So you're good at math, you're good at explaining concepts, you can be a tuition teacher, whatever it is. I think trying to blend different characteristics is more important, and harnessing your strength is more important rather than try to be good at everything, try to compare my O level 6 point, my O level 2 point, whatever it is, like how you want to compare. I think that one quite meaningless, and I feel like it's a waste of time, because truth be told, after you pass on to the next stage, nobody asks you what do you do previously or how much do you do back then. And every point in time of your life, you'll think that this is the most important event in your life. But I can tell you, after looking back, you can see the four of us combined our age got, I think, 120 years old. I think we can all agree that, or at least we can generally agree that a lot of things in life, last time you think very important, but now not important. I think that's just my 2 cents on this whole Singapore, I don't know, 内卷 thing. Yeah, long story short.
I think just to defend the MOE a bit, because I used to have this thinking that, hey, why need to study 9 subjects? Like so many. But if you look at it, right, they are actually trying to go the other way. They're trying to like trim down. Like they introduced G1, G2, G3, right? For like initially was just Chinese CLB, right? If your Chinese cannot make it, they give you the CLB, like you just 汉语拼 all the way. They just let you go. But now there's like G1 foundational. Like if your math cui, then you just do the foundational math law. They still allow you to to go at G1. But it's just that if you have subjects that are G1, right, all the way, then you most likely cannot go to a JC route. Because for JC, you need I think almost everything to be G3, like the top level. If not, they don't really think that you can survive JC. Because JC is really very tough, yeah. Because I teach JC, so I know it's super tough. The content is so difficult. If you cannot even do the basic one, then you shouldn't come here and suffer. Yeah, that's so just in defense of our education system, we are trying our best. We do not have that kind of critical mass to allow everybody to just do like 1 or 2 and double down on those. The skill stacking that you're talking about, right? It works if you have a broad base. Then you start to see your different skill stack. Like Kelvin, he got some humor, right? And he used to be a programmer. So when the two together, and then he came into YouTube, that's when he blossomed, right? So he stacked different skill set together. Yeah. So for me also, I used to be a teacher, right? I teach in school, but I don't know. After I left the school, then I like I like to do marketing also. I learn and then I like to do it. Then teaching and marketing, tuition center. So I don't know. For Bunti, it could be another thing. I don't know what's his skill set. Maybe you can share.
No skill one.
Just buy Nvidia.
Every day keep on debating with people online.
Hey, that's a skill set. Yeah. That is. Hey, have you watched this guy called Charlie? This I think he's like a
Politician or which one?
Donald Trump
Charlie.
fan,
I
Charlie
think
Kirk lah.
Charlie
he,
Kirk,
he
yeah.
likes to go to those campuses to debate the students.
Yeah. I watched that one. Quite good.
Yeah, he's very good debater.
Yeah.
Reminds me of you. Debate.
Reminds you the opposite of him, right?
No. He does remind me of you a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Any concluding thoughts from Kelvin or Bunty? Kelvin, do a conclusion.
Yeah, don't go and... Basically, he is a bit comparing too much, I feel. So, comparing, because no one cares about you. I don't mean it in a bad way. Basically, because you feel like I'm average, and the people who are less well to do with you, they are concerned with their own self. People who are doing better with you, they are also concerned with their own self. So no one cares about you. So, but then you are caring about everyone else around you, which makes you sad. So stop doing that. Instead, care about the things that matter more to you, like your family. Spend more time with them because your parents aren't going to be around in the next 30, 40 years. Care about your own purpose because maybe your existence give other people happiness. So if you're not around, then other people will be sad. So that's why I would say that condo is a stupid thing, because I feel that if you are not well to do, then you go and force yourself to go and do this, then you end up being sad again. So yeah, of course there are you if you go social media, you see, oh, condo becoming more expensive. I have to chase this. Then you go and see Eric Chew's video. You say, oh yeah, condo is the best investment ever. You have to chase this. If you can't afford it, don't chase it lah. Same for car, same for a better paying job. Just do a normal job. Just find whatever happiness that you have. Then the rest will settle itself lah.
On that note, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Nice video.